Hey, it's Eric Arnold. I'm back in the barn here. It's Friday afternoon, probably around 1:45. What is it, the 5th of August? We're doing another borrowed wife camera video here. Believe it or not, I think I have a plan. Let's put it that way. Wouldn't be the first plan I've had. But I've got a plan on how to make the little tiny stupid camera that I bought work. Where it's like, okay, if you get this kind of an adapter now, then maybe the external microphone will work, maybe. So after we're done shooting this video, we're going in search of this stupid little adapter and see if that will make the external microphone go. I think if I can get over that external microphone hurdle, I think we're good to go, and then really there's nothing stopping us from resuming normal video shooting schedule. What do we got here for you today? I got 3 games for you Friday, 3 evening games for you MLB wise. This is just something to think about, and by the time the video gets posted, this game will be well in progress. There's an unusual situation happening this afternoon where yesterday, the Chicago Cubs were in St. Louis for a doubleheader. The doubleheader, game 2 finishing up at 9, 10, 11 o'clock in the evening. Now Chicago is playing at 2 o'clock in the afternoon in Chicago. So these guys had to get on whatever, I guess these guys all fly a private plane. That each team has their own plane, I imagine. And so they fly out of St. Louis, get over to O'Hare, get off the plane. It's probably 4 in the morning, and they got to be at the ballpark in like 4 hours. So this scenario hardly ever happens, but when it does happen, the home team always wins. Always wins. It was like in the last 10 years, this scenario has happened like 20 times, and it's lost once. Now, I couldn't bring myself to bet that just because, you try to look out for these kind of things where it's like, this doesn't make a lot of sense, and is this just a complete random deal here? Because these kind of weirdo trends that don't have a lot of reps, 20, that's not a lot of reps, and it's 119, does that statistically mean anything, or is this just complete luck? So I threw it into the complete luck bin, and I did not bet it. So let's see what happens. I'm curious to see what's going to happen here. I guess the thinking is that the Cubs are just going to be just so pissed off after losing the doubleheader that they're just going to roll right out there and hit the hell out of the ball. I don't know, but we'll see. All right, what else? We had a lot of stuff, a lot of ground to cover, so let's get moving. Bruce, one of our good subscribers, Bruce Franklin, wants me to talk about the trade deadline and how that shakes up what we're looking at here as far as, I guess the landscape of baseball. The fat got fatter, the skinny got skinnier, in a lot of cases. Now, a few thoughts. The Padres, I don't know where the value is there. In other words, they were minus 300 yesterday, and they lost. And they lost. It's like this sudden super team. No, I don't buy this until they start actually winning games. And I mean like Dodger type winning, like we win 5 out of 6. And that's what we do. When we lose, we win another 5 in a row. The Padres, I think, are overvalued. I think you got to be careful there. The same with some of these selling teams. The Nationals, they were the worst team in the league, and they just sold off 2 of their best players. So where do you go from there? Can you get any worse? I don't know. So I think the numbers on the Nationals are going to be unreasonable, where you're going to pay a fortune to play against the Nationals. and perhaps too much to play against the Nationals. The Yankees, they've been stumbling around here lately. That's a little interesting there in that I think they had a 500 July, and they improved themselves a little bit. But their starting pitching is not great. It is not great. Garrett Cole simply is not that killer he was in Houston. When he lost his spider tack, he's just another guy that throws 98 now, and there's a whole league full of guys like that. So I don't know that the Yankees have the pitching. They have a short series, and Judge doesn't hit or is hurt. Trouble in paradise. So you got who got really helped themselves. I think the Phillies helped themselves. I really honestly do. This was the first year in a long time I sat there and thought to myself, I could almost see an adult making these trades. I could see the hand of Dombrowski in the background guiding this, where it's like, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yes, we need that guy. We need defense. We need speed. And the Phillies have brought in some guys that are going to help them, guys that are not necessarily, hey, break the bank for Juan Soto guys that we were able to get without giving up a hell of a lot. So I liked what the Phillies did. I like what the Reds did. In my last video, I told you people that I think the Reds are on the right track. Some of these teams that sold, I think, are teams you might pay attention to. All of a sudden, the Royals look like they're a team you can play. When Salvador Perez suddenly is off the DL, and he looks like he's hitting the hell out of the ball, just like last year. So all of a sudden, that looks like a team you can play. The Dodgers still look to me to be the team to beat, and that's another thought on the Padres, is what's the Padres' end game here? They're not going to catch the Dodgers. They just aren't. They paid a fortune to put together this super team, which still is not together yet because Tatis still hasn't played. So you got this super team that's got to make up, 12 games in, 58 games? Something like that? That's not going to happen. It's just mathematically not going to happen. The Dodgers aren't going to lose that much, I don't think. And so now the Padres are into a 3-game set where anything could happen. If they get through that, then they're into the 5-game deal and what have you. And I just think the Padres will have a deal where they're going to get knocked out early. They're not going to be able to navigate that gauntlet and get into that 7-game series with the Dodgers where they think they can match up head-to-head with them. Conversely, the Dodgers, they just lost Kershaw again, back trouble. That's probably a month, maybe more. The guy missed the playoffs last year because I forget what, it might have been back trouble. Whatever trouble it was, he missed it. They have trouble there. They don't have a closer. They didn't help themselves at the deadline on the closer issue. Starting pitching, they're going in there with Gonsolin and Tim Anderson. Come on, that's not enough to impress me. I think what you're looking at right now is the NL pennant winners coming out of either New York or Atlanta. I think those are the two teams that are going to be there, despite the fact the Dodgers had the best record at the moment. Atlanta or the Mets, and I'm kind of leaning Metish. I kind of think the Mets are the team to beat right now. Kind of the team to beat overall. I think that if push comes to shove, I think the Mets pitching would probably take the Yankees. So that's kind of where I'm leaning. I think that's where your value is. But, just a general overall, for you right now, Bruce, we're playing the teams that are pushing to make playoff positions, where anybody that's trying to push into the playoffs or get positioning, i.e. Yankees, Astros, I think both those teams, you got to be playing them in that neither team wants that Game 7 at the other team's house. That, the Yankees, they don't play well down there in Houston, so I don't think they want to go down there. So both those teams, the Mets and the Braves, until one of those teams emerges, for example, if the Mets just sweep this weekend series and they end up 7-8 games clear of the Braves, yeah, they might take a week or two off. But that aside, I think both teams are playing hard. So Mariners, I think they helped themselves at the deadline. They look like they've got a pretty solid unit now with good starting pitching. They've got a good bullpen. They still don't hit the ball very well, but Castillo helps them a lot. Anyway, so there's some thoughts there. One thing we need to be aware of, let's just clear the board here. When was the last time when were these games? Was this Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever? Winner, loser. Wednesday we had a really good day, unbeknownst to you people. Thursday we had about a break-even day, unbeknownst to you people. All right, we need to, my brother and I have both said that what we need what he wants to happen before he dies, and I said, well, you might as well die now because it's never going to happen. He wants to see somebody break DiMaggio's 56-game hitting streak record. And I said, that will never happen. But a man can dream, right? We can dream. And the reason it'll never happen is the game is just different now. It's just entirely different, where you face 4 different hitters in the span of 5 at-bats. It's hard to zero in on a guy and swing the bat well on him. Plus, there's so few hitters, that could do it. Whereas in DiMaggio's day, you probably had 30 guys in the league that might be capable of stringing a bunch of hitting streaks together or hits in each game together. Now you might have 10. You know what I mean? Kyle Schwarber will never hit in any appreciable hitting streak. It's not his game. He doesn't care about getting singles. That's not what he's trying to do. And there's a whole league full of Kyle Schwarbers. Here in today's day and age, who can have a hitting streak? You can almost name them. I could almost sit here off the top of my head and name them. Trey Turner, Paul Goldschmidt, Luis Arraez, and here's the guy that, Vladdy Guerrero, maybe. Here's the guy that has one right now. Kwan. I think his name is Stephen Kwan. Is that right? It's probably not. It's almost certainly not. But he plays for the Indians. The Guardians of the Cuyahoga. And he's currently got an 18-game streak. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to will this guy to fame. We're going to will him to a record. We're simply going to ride the Kwan. The Kwan. He has 18-game hitting streak for the Guardians, and we're just going to track this guy and root for him and push him. And this time, say 3 weeks from now, he's going to be famous. He's going to be the most famous man in America. You heard it here first. He'll be more famous than Brandon. He'll be more famous than Donald Trump. He'll be more famous than anybody. Everybody is going to be talking about the Kwan because we're just going to will it to happen. I don't know how we're going to do that, but that's what we're going to try to do. I noticed that they started the preseason, the NFL preseason. Here's a tip on the NFL preseason as far as what it relates to in the real world, in the actual season. It does not matter at all. Totally meaningless. The only thing that matters as far as what happens in the preseason is how many injuries did you take? It's the only thing that matters. If, like Tampa, they lost their starting center, well, that's going to hurt them. That's going to hurt them. The Cowboys lost one of their better receivers. That's going to hurt the Cowboys. If you play incredibly well in the preseason, if you're blowing out your preseason opponents 56-0, you know what that gets you? Absolutely nothing. Zero. It's meaningless. You can only go backwards in the preseason. Your best case scenario is you simply get through it injury-free. I finally convinced my brother of this. This is the next year in a row the Eagles will win the Super Bowl. He of the unreasonable optimism as far as the Eagles are concerned. I finally convinced him of this, that the preseason doesn't matter. He would get all bent out of shape. I cannot believe they're not playing Jalen Hurts. They're not starting him. He's going to be rusty. What are we going to do? Blah, 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 blah. It doesn't matter. Ask Marv Levy. He doesn't matter. Marv Levy, former head coach of the Buffalo Bills. They made 4 straight Super Bowls. And I guarantee you, the reason they didn't win the Super Bowl wasn't because they always went winless in the preseason. Levy didn't care about the preseason because he knew it doesn't matter. So don't get all bent out of shape about your team not having I read a couple stories that it was almost like, wow, back in the day, these people were just crazy. That George Allen was actually fired in 1979, 78, 79, I forget which, where the Rams had hired him. He lost 2 games in the preseason, and then his owner fired him because he was worried about the direction of the team. Can you imagine that? You fire a Hall of Fame coach because he lost 2 games in the preseason. Jesus. Just read, saw a little TV thing there. I've taped the marathon of the Super Bowl vignettes. Each team that's won the Super Bowl, the NFL Network's done a 1-hour special on them, and they ran a marathon earlier this summer. I taped the whole thing, so I got nothing to do, or I'm eating my lunch or something. I just plug in the next episode of that, and we're up to the 91 Redskins, and Jack Kent Cooke, owner of the Redskins at that time, was chewing out Joe Gibbs. Joe Gibbs, who at this point has 2 Super Bowl championships under his belt. And he's bitching at Gibbs because the Redskins have lost the first 2 games of the preseason. So what are you, crazy, you stupid old man? I mean, let that guy do his job. He's good. He's good. Shut up. Don't be bitching at him because he lost 2 preseason games. And of course, the Redskins then went on to win Super Bowl number 3 under Joe Gibbs in 1991. It doesn't matter. So remember that while you're hanging on every missed pass and fumble that your team is making here in August, and you're going, I don't know, I'm kind of worried. They'll fill in the blank. Don't look good this year. Doesn't matter. All right, good, great. What's next? I want to make one political point here. I noticed a lot of people were upset or worried that Nancy Pelosi is in China, where I guess, oh my God, this might start World War III. Yeah, all right. I guess the Chinese are mad, but I don't think it's mad the way you think. I mean, it's more mad in that it's like having a valuable employee that just goes and takes a vacation without telling you. In other words, Pelosi, Brandon equal. These people are working for the Chinese government. They are employees of the Chinese government. So, they're not upset that, so the United States is making a aggressive strategic move. I mean, they're more upset. It's like, wait a minute, we're paying you to wreck that place over there, Nancy. What are you doing going on vacation? We didn't approve that. Why are you not at your desk wrecking that place, bankrupting it so we can buy it cheap? Why are you not at work? So yeah, I could see they were pissed at her about that, but that's all it is. I mean, they're not gonna start a war with us while they've got their agents running the place. They've got everything they want right now. So they're certainly not going to, start a war. They're not doing that. All right, let's go to the picks. Let's see. Believe it or not, we have been doing pretty well here lately. Let's just, you don't need to see that. This should be known, well known. This should be implicit. So we'll just get rid of that so we can put the picks up here. All right, we're going to do Phillies. This number was dropping, which made me a little nervous in that I think some smart money was coming down on the Nationals. Yeah, I think it's almost counterintuitive, but I think it's true in that I'm a little nervous about the Nationals, just in that they were terrible. They get rid of their best two players, so you're thinking, well, logically, then that means they're even going to be more terrible. Not necessarily. Sometimes it doesn't work that way. Sometimes you add through subtraction, if that makes any sense. But here, I think you're getting a reasonable number. The Phillies are at home. The Phillies have been playing well. The only reason we're getting a half-decent, reasonable number here is that they have their best pitcher. The Phillies have one of their worst pitchers. I still think this is a play, though, and I think largely just because that number's semi-reasonable. The Phillies should have that should be probably minus 210 at a minimum. And remember, the Phillies bullpen is rested. They didn't pitch last night. They had a short rain out last night. One of those very rare games where it went 5 innings and then they called it. Luckily, because there's no more open days, they just said, all right, you win. Normally they'd say, well, you got to come back tomorrow and finish, or some jerk-off deal like that. Whereas now they just said, all right, rules say we can call this game and call you the winner. They've got 98 losses already. They don't care. We'll just give it to you. All right, good. So Phillies bullpen did not pitch yesterday, so they're all rested, and there's some killers in the back of that pen right now for Philadelphia. So even if Kyle Gibson is short and lousy, I think the Phillies are going to have all 9 innings covered with good pitching. I don't think you can say the same with the Nationals. Josiah Gray, if he pitches well, and it's possible he's not terrible, if he has a hot day, well, they're still going to probably have to fill 3 innings, and with who exactly? So, I think we're okay there. I think we're safe there. Okay, the big matchup here. The big matchup. 2 teams that could win it all. I just told you people, I think the Mets are the best team, but we're going to go ahead with the Braves here. This is a model special in that we kind of think that the 2 teams are playing head-to-head. The Mets had a big win last night, but perhaps they maxed out a little bit to get that one opening win, to put 1 in the win column, to say, all right, we got 1. For example, they pitched Edwin Diaz 2 innings. No one does that anymore. That's crazy talk. I loved it. I thought, yeah, that's right. Let's Goose Gossage the thing. Absolutely. Let's go ahead. But to me, that's a sign that maybe the Mets wanted that one game just a little too much. And now the Braves, maybe they're like, shit, we gotta match that intensity. We gotta go get one of these games. We can't just get run out of here. If we get run out of here, we're into that little 3-game anything could happen deal, and we don't want to be there. We're the world champions, goddammit, and they're the Mets. So, and I think that's how it's going to go tonight. They're the world champions, and the other team's the Mets. So we're going to go ahead. We're getting paid. We're getting paid. That's the key point there. We're getting paid to do this, to take the underdog. And the Braves always play well up in New York. So I'd be real surprised if the Mets just blow the Braves the hell out this weekend, if they just wipe them out. That would surprise me. I like the Mets. I think that's a good team. I also think the Braves are a very good team. So we're going to kind of play this that, neither one is going to get a huge advantage on the other, and it's time for the Braves to win. All right, and lastly, this one was our only loser in the last couple days. We had the Red Sox last night, and they looked like shit. They looked cooked, frankly. They looked cooked. J.D. Martinez's bat is slow. Rafael Devers is either quit or he's hurt. He had 2 ground outs last night, and he doesn't even get out of the box. It was so bad the Kansas City announcers are like, well, what do you make of that? Well, he might be hurt. They wanted to call him a dog, but he might be hurt, which neither one is good. So the Red Sox did not look good at all. The Royals are looking suddenly like they're a threat. Putting Salvador Perez back in that lineup, all of a sudden this team is not terrible. I mean, that guy's hitting the ball hard damn near every time he comes up to bat. And you got their best pitcher going, Zach Greinke. He's almost certainly going to give you 5-6 good innings. I think you're getting a value here at even money. I think Kansas City is not a team that's just completely spit the bit. They got rid of a bunch of guys they all knew were going anyway. And now they're bringing in some dudes that they think can play a little bit. This first baseman he's got a long Italian name that escapes me. Pasquarelli, Pascatino, something like that. I think he can play a little bit. They still got Bobby Witt Jr. He's going to be a star. Perez is back in the lineup. He is a star. The Royals, surprisingly enough, are not that much worse than the Red Sox. And at the moment, I'm going to say the Royals. You can't just throw these bad teams away if they're pointing towards something as we head into the Royals have been out of it all season. But, as these younger players now get to play, especially after the trade deadline, where somebody that may have been blocked by a Whit Merrifield or an Andrew Benintendi now is getting some at-bats. Well, that guy's excited. He wants to play. He's like, yeah, I'm going to show you what I can do. And the Royals, I think, are one of these teams. So we like it tonight at even money. Like that pretty well. All right, very good. Let me go look for my adapter. Kwan against the Astros tonight. Feel the Kwan. I'm Eric Arnold. Hit the like button. We always appreciate when you do that. And we'll talk again. If my adapter works. If the adapter works, we'll talk again. Sooner rather than later.